History is a set of lies we all agree to believe. That biting quote, often credited to Napoleon, hits on an uncomfortable truth. The official story of the past depends on who gets to write it. If history is always shaped by the winners, the powerful, or even just the loudest voices, how can we ever know what really happened? Can history ever be truly neutral? Or is it impossible to separate the facts from the people interpreting them? This isn't just a philosophical puzzle. It affects how we see everything from national heroes to social justice movements, and especially how nations justify their actions. In many historical narratives, it doesn't matter who lives on a contested land today. What matters is who lived there centuries or millennia ago. The past becomes more important than the present, and history is used not to explain, but to legitimize. To begin, we have to ask, what do we mean when we say that history should be objective? Do we mean that it must be factually correct, emotionally detached, or free from bias? These ideals often get conflated, but they are not the same. Factual accuracy is about getting the names, dates, and events right. Interpretive neutrality, on the other hand, is about not shaping those facts to serve an agenda. Detachment suggests a historian can stand entirely outside their time, culture, and politics, an illusion many now consider naive. Most historians today accept that while facts matter, the process of selecting and interpreting them is never value-free. In the 19th century, scholars like Leopold von Ranke dreamed of a history that could be as exact and reliable as the natural sciences. His goal was to write history as it actually happened, based on a close reading of primary sources. This marked a decisive shift from mythic or moralistic storytelling toward a more disciplined, evidence-based approach. But even the most disciplined methods run into a core problem. The sources themselves are not neutral. They were written by people embedded in their own time, with their own interests and limitations. Can we trust Roman historians when they describe the so-called barbarians? Can we rely on biblical texts as historical records when they were composed to affirm faith, not document fact? Even medieval chronicles, colonial reports, or Inquisition trial records come to us through the biases, fears, and agendas of their authors. The issue isn't just that some sources lie, it's that every source tells only a part of the story, filtered through language, perspective, and purpose. The archive is not the past. It's what's left of the past, curated by those who had the means to record it. Faced with this imperfect evidence, should the historian try to strip away every trace of interpretation, or should they embrace their role as a narrator and analyst? In the mid-20th century, thinkers like Edward Carr pushed back against the illusion of neutrality. In his influential work, What is History?, Carr argued that facts do not speak for themselves. It is the historian who chooses which facts to emphasize, what questions to ask, and how to weave them into a coherent account. As he put it, the facts are like fish on the fishmonger's slab. The historian selects which to cook and how to cook them. More radically, Hayden White argued that historical writing is structured like literature, shaped by genre, metaphor, and narrative tropes. According to White, the very act of writing history requires imposing order on chaos, selecting heroes and villains, beginnings and endings. In this sense, every historical account is already an interpretation. If history is always constructed, it is also often exploited. Throughout time, history has been used to legitimize power, justify wars, and sanctify national myths. The Roman Empire wrote histories that glorified conquest and civilization while demonizing outsiders as uncultured threats. European colonizers described indigenous peoples as primitive or childlike, framing colonization as a benevolent mission. In more recent history, we've seen Russia invoke the medieval state of Kievan Rus to claim cultural and territorial continuity with modern Ukraine. China calls upon ancient dynasties to assert control over regions like Tibet and Taiwan. Israel grounds its claim to the territory in deep historical narratives. It often doesn't matter who lives on a contested land today. In the logic of historical justification, what matters is who lived there centuries or even millennia ago. The past becomes more important than the present. This is not unique to autocracies or contested zones. Every nation tells stories that make its existence seem natural, heroic, and inevitable. School curriculums often present history not as a contested field of inquiry, but as a stable foundation for civic identity. When history becomes heritage, its complexities are smoothed over and its contradictions are buried. Does this mean history is nothing more than propaganda in disguise? Not quite. Acknowledging that history is interpretive does not mean it is arbitrary. Some accounts are better supported than others. Some interpretations are more inclusive, more self-aware, more transparent about their limits. The best historians don't pretend to escape bias, they interrogate it. They ask who wrote a source, for what audience, and under what conditions. They seek out alternative voices and question dominant narratives. Postmodern thinkers remind us that knowledge and power are always intertwined. But that doesn't mean truth is meaningless. It means we must work harder to uncover the forces shaping our perception of truth. History may never be objective in the purest sense, but it can still be rigorous, critical, and profoundly illuminating. It can still tell us something real about the past, if we know how to read it. To read history well is not just to learn about the past, but to recognize how it speaks to the present, and how we, in turn, shape the stories that will be told tomorrow. If this video made you think, leave a comment below. Can history ever be neutral? Or is the very idea of objectivity just another story we tell ourselves?